Hi, welcome back to the C Morning Show. We're up for our first discussion of the program, which is in line with C Today Business as well. Now, before that, though, we're going to be celebrating Eid in a week, a little bit over a week. I think 8 days, right?
Yes.
Or
Almost,
7 or 8
almost
days.
Yes.
So, what planning have you done? I cannot believe we're in the final stretch of Ramadan
Doesn't feel
already.
like that, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, when the beginning of the Ramadan, it felt like, oh, it's like 30 days.
Yeah,
but
it's
now
still a long way away.
No, it's just so fast. I got everything prepared because you know me, fashion is importante.
Yes.
We have more than two outfits for the whole family.
Oh, nice.
So if that's taken care of. Yes, but I think the most that we need to do is basically turning or giving hampers to, the people that are sending it to us.
Okay, so it's and these are the two, like, kind of, I find, are not only like physically you have to do all of the preparations, but also financially, because you've just as well gone through paying any people that are under your employ the extra bonus salary. Plus, these hampers are not cheap because
they're not.
They come at a premium price once a year.
Usually, you would like to say, I mean, back in the days, I think people would give it for their loved ones and for the family, your best friends, right? But now, when people are sending it to you, you automatically feel that you need to send it back to them,
Of course, you need
right?
to
Out of respect.
reciprocate.
Yes, that's right.
And it also seems like in this era that where you can just send things easily via online drivers, it just seems like we're just getting more and more hampers.
And
Our kind of community has
so many SMSEs also.
Yes, a lot of attractive hampers to be sending, but it does involve spending. And to avoid excess spending, you may want to adopt what is called a frugal living lifestyle. Now, today, we have joining us a friend of the program and personal finance enthusiast, Mas Dani Rachmat, who can tell us a little bit more about frugal living and how we can kind of implement this ahead of the Eid holidays. Good morning, Mas Dani. Thank you for being here. Looking sharp as always. So let's talk a little bit about frugal living. Some people may not even be aware of the word. So what is frugal living?
Frugal living is being smart with your money, so that you're always thinking ahead of how to spend the money, not being cheap, because there's different.
I was thinking that.
Cheap.
I thought it was being like thrifty.
Not being cheap, yes, because when you go to frugal living, you will always have in mind your budget, how you spend your money, and to get the maximum value of your money to spend on. So maybe sometimes you will spend on something that is more expensive, but that will give you what is the longer use of
more
that
sustainable.
goods. Yes,
that would be frugal living, because being cheap is just like, I don't want to let go of my money. Like, I want to hang on to it as much as possible.
So that being cheap, I only want to buy cheap things.
Yes.
Right.
Eventually, maybe that will make you spend more.
Because it will break down and you'll have to buy it again.
Yes.
That makes sense.
All those little things, trinkets that you don't need and you buy, and when you just use it once, it's going to break down. Now, what is the benefits of living, or frugal living?
Of course, being mindful at spending your money, it will help you to save more out of the money that we have.
Yes.
And by saving more, it will create more buffer in our financial. And with more buffer, there will be less stress. And with less stress, we'll eventually be able to make more money, and we will save more, and that will speed up the financial independence that we are aiming for.
So, like, be conscious of what you want to
I just thought of a perfect example of how I implemented frugal living without realizing it. So recently, about a month and a half ago, we installed ceiling fans in 2 of the biggest rooms in our house. It was my wife's idea. She said, I don't want to use the AC from the moment it gets hot around 10, 11 a.m. until like late night. Instead, let's install a couple ceiling fans. I was like, I got to put out a couple of $100 here to install and to buy these fans. But I noticed in this month and a half alone that my electricity bill has gone down. So not only am I saving on electricity bill directly, but also the maintenance of my air conditioners, which I don't have to no longer run throughout the day. I did spend a little bit of money, a little more money than I normally wouldn't have spent, but I think that's going to come back to me in the long run. That would be an example.
That's good. That's good.
Right?
Maybe I can do that as well.
Mrs. knows best, by the way. Mrs. knows best. Especially if you have a high ceiling, right? Sometimes the AC would take time for you to have like the area to be cooled.
It's a game changer in my house. So let's talk a little bit about minimalism. Can you explain a little bit what is minimalism, and does it overlap, or is it different than frugal living?
Actually, the actual goals are the same. Because in the end, by practicing minimalism and frugal living, you will have more money in saving, in investment, or anything. But the main difference of frugal living and minimalism is that in frugal living, we are being smart on how spending our money. So we don't mind to buy things that will give us more value from our money. But for minimalism, the focus is that we don't need to buy things about the possession.
Less is better.
Yes,
less
is better. Less is better.
Okay.
And the ultimate effect is that from frugal living we will be live less stress, and with the minimalism, because we don't have much, we can focus on what is more important to our life.
I like that.
And that will lead the same result, that we will have less stress. And
Right.
we for minimalists, they often declutter of their ownership of their things.
Yeah.
But for the frugal living people, maybe they don't declutter because they already buy what they need.
That's
they
right.
only need.
So I guess
good
they-
quality products.
They can go hand in hand, I suppose,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's better if you can do both. It seems like it's going to be a
Yeah.
perfect life.
True.
One thing that I like to be reactive if I go to a bookstore, I like to buy books that I haven't even read for like a couple. Like I love buying books.
Me too.
But it would take
Yeah.
time for you to read book, and now I'm
That
like,
is part of the healing and self-reward, like buying books.
Yes.
It doesn't reward
Yeah.
you back financially, but like for example, during Eid, I've read more because we have more time to kill during the day. It's helped me from like instead of taking my kids out to the mall and then you'll
Yes.
end up spending money.
Yes.
yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
But
So don't
yeah,
worry.
that's I got to learn from you because I like to go to the bookstore. I like to buy the books, and then I don't have
You
time
need to find the
read.
time to
I need to find the time to read. Now, right now, especially, I think Paul had mentioned before that we begin our discussion to implement frugal living, especially coming to Eid. Now, we
Yeah.
know that you get your professional fee of the month of March, and then you get your holiday allowance, your THR
also
again.
bonus.
Yes,
Really
the
bonus,
bonus is
yes.
all together in one. I mean, for people that is very reactive like me, I would definitely see that with the twinkling eyes, and I
Yeah.
think like, this is the time for me to splurge.
And you brought up a good point as well in the sense that when people come back from the holidays, it's not long before they get
Yes.
their next salary, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you come in like 17th of April, and then
Only
by
a week
there-
before
That's right.
the next salary.
Yes. So how can we keep ourselves very conscious, very content? If you cannot be frugal yet, at least we're aware of ourselves.
At the very least, focus on your budget. So yes, of course, it will be different, the budget for Eid and the regular month. And you already have the priority that you will need to spend on. If you love fashion, as
Yes.
you say that, okay, the budget for clothing for this month will be this much. So focus on the budget. Do not overspend and be disciplined on that one. And then also that focus on what's important. So for this Eid and holiday, what will be the more important? Maybe we need to spend more on our family, for our family, maybe buying meals that for the celebration. But then stop there. But for some people, looking at that big amount of money, they will think that, okay, I don't have that money to spend on the regular basis.
Yes.
But that I have this money, maybe this is the time for me to buy
Yeah.
new iPhone,
Right.
or maybe
Right.
to buy some things
It's
that.
just a chunk of money. It's like a buffer, right?
Yes. People want to look good and they want to look success in front of their family back home.
Yes,
this
that's
is a
what
comment.
happens.
Yeah.
Let's explain this. Like, I mean, to our viewers out there that don't celebrate Eid, is like when Eid holiday comes, some family you only see during this once a year event.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is this kind of like not unwritten rule that some people follow that I need to have new clothes.
Yes.
Or some even purchase a new car to drive back to their
Yes.
hometowns, right?
And even the craziest thing is that some people, they say that I cannot say no for my neighbor, my extended family, if they say that, oh, you are successful, please treat us for some meal.
Yes, I mean,
Really?
that
That
happened.
happened?
That happened right here.
I'm not
And
aware of
they
this.
cannot say no, because if I say no, meaning that I cannot prove that I'm successful enough.
Right.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. So then you need to know yourself, right?
Yes.
You need to be content with yourself.
Yes.
You have to be, I mean, respect yourself.
Be confident.
Yes.
And we don't have to prove anything to anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
But it
pressure.
is
in you.
quite hard, right?
Yeah.
You're coming home. I mean, if your family knows you living in a big city or a major city like in Jakarta, I mean, people always think when you go, it's like the concrete jungle. Once you go here, you're going to be successful. Then you're
Yeah.
going to come back home, you're looking the same way as you came back
Yeah.
3 years ago, what were you doing?
So is it better to be faced with the question of take us out to a meal or when are you getting married? For the single people that go home for homecoming, right? That's the most common question.
Yeah.
So earlier, I think a week ago, we had you on and to discuss putting aside some investment from your bonus, Eid bonus as well. And you mentioned, anywhere from like 10% upwards of that could be good. If you could go up to 20 or 30, even better. Now, should there be a number in mind for us? Because we do know there's increased spending during Eid. We do get a bonus chunk of money. So let's say we get 1 month's salary extra for those that are on a salary basis. Is there like a number we should be shooting for as to how much we have as a buffer that we can spend on things like hampers, new clothes, and possibly transportation expenses?
We have some annual expenses that we have to spend, right? First, when we receive that money, we have to be conscious about that, like our car tax and
property tax.
Correct. Those kind of expenses, we have to pay off those kind of expenses.
Like your responsibilities.
Yes, and then set aside like 20 to 30% for investment buffer. After that, all the essential expenses for the holiday, after we spend all of them, actually that is quite safe to just spend the rest of it.
Okay.
So as long as we already paid off everything that we need to pay annually, and then we already set aside investment for our future, and we already paid off everything that we need to pay.
Okay.
So if you want to splurge for hampers,
you work hard for like 11 months.
Yeah. No, I mean, so I guess it's more of not the actual number, but prioritizing what comes first, right? So that yearly expense that we sometimes forget about. Me, always car taxes that I forget. It's like, oh no, I got to have this extra money. So put that aside first, and then your investment actually comes second, and then you see how much you have left.
Because for me, it is hard to limit how I spend my money. So instead, I set aside everything that I need to set aside first. So the rest of the money, I will just splurge it.
Yeah, and don't forget during Ramadan, there's also some zakat, or there are some that you need to pay, right? If you're a Muslim or in the Muslim community.
Even by the way, even the great Dani Rachmat has problems deciding how much money to limit his spending.
The problem is how to spend the money.
It's true. It happens to all of us.
Anyway, so do you have more? I think we're gonna talk more with Dani in regards to this.
Yeah, I think we should. I've got some questions off air in regards to some of the investments that we should make. But do you have any tips in regards to not only applying frugal living just once a year, because this is something that comes as a bonus, but just in general, what are some of the simple things that we can apply in our day-to-day lives in order for us to do this more consistently?
Yeah, frugal living is actually about practicing it consistently, so that we always have to bear in mind that we have our future. We don't live only for today. So every time we get our salary, our bonus, or our income, just remember that we also will be living like for the next 20, 30 years, 40 years. At that time, we will not have our job right now. So where will be the money to finance at that time?
Especially if you have offsprings, right?
Yes.
Like children and whatnot. No, just one more follow-up question, Mas Dani. If it's very hard for someone that's very consumptive, I'm talking about myself, by the way, should I start frugal living by something that is very hard for me? Say for a woman, it's like shopping, or something that's more easier for me to deduct first?
Actually, for someone that is very consumptive, you can just change the way how you spend money. I mean, what you spend on.
Okay.
Like if you get your money, buy the investment first. I mean, for investing, you don't have to try to find what is the best instrument or what is the best stock that I should buy.
I like gold. Why not, right?
Yes, just buy gold.
Yes.
Or maybe if you like to buy fashions, you can buy the stocks that they produce fashion and sell fashion.
That's right.
There are tons of the stocks that related to fashions, and you know that kind of stock will never die. People will always buy the products.
Right.
So that if you spend on those kind of things, you already feel that, okay, I already shop.
Yes.
And the
part
rest
of ownership. There's an ownership of, rather than just wearing it.
I've got a tip. I got a little bit of itchy fingers when it comes to online shopping. Yes. Sometimes for no good reason, I'll just open a shopping app and I just like scrolling. But I do implement that sometimes. So instead of looking for things that I don't necessarily need, but just, oh, these are nice pants or whatever, I start buying things that essentials for the home. so that, and then even if I see it like a sale,
Yeah.
I'll stock up on some essential, for example, household products or some things that I need at home. And then that way I do have stock of it. I don't necessarily need it right now, but I know it will be used in the future. And I get to kind of satisfy my need of spending, getting my bonus points or whatever it is that I'm looking for. So
Right.
that's a little bit of a tip as well that perhaps you can
Very
implement.
smart. Okay, yes, I will. Both of your tips. Thank you very much.
Mas Dani, thank you so much for joining
you
us
for-
here. We
thank
hope
you.
that if we don't see you before the Eid holidays, that you do have a good one,
Yes.
and hope that obviously you
too.
are implementing a frugal lifestyle. I mean, I hope that we can start implementing a more frugal lifestyle, and hopefully you, our viewers, can as well. This discussion now takes us to our next commercial break. But when we return, we've got some of the latest world headlines to share with you. So stay tuned right here on the C Morning Show. We'll be right back after this.
Always a pleasure, Mas Dani.